Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In this video, I'm going to be testing out some CeraVe skincare products for the whole of the next month, and then at the end of the video, I will let you know my final thoughts and update on how I get on with them. So I've got 3 different cleansers, 1 moisturiser and 1 eye cream, and I'm going to start by going through each product individually, giving you a little bit of information about each, and then I will also do a demonstration of all 3 cleansers just for the purpose of the video. I will apply all 3 cleansers to different parts of my face, just so I can give you my first impressions and thoughts on each of them, and then I will apply the moisturiser and eye cream as well and give you my thoughts on those too. So if you'd like to see how I get on using nothing but CeraVe products for the whole of the next month, then please keep on watching. Today is the 1st of June and day 1 of testing out CeraVe. So this is my skin before I start. I will zoom you in so you can have a better look. So as you can see, I do have quite a few blemishes on my skin. I have spots on both sides of my cheeks and also on my chin area, but my forehead is actually usually pretty clear, which is good, and I'll be really interested to see if these products help to clear up my breakouts. Now, I do always have some kind of blemish on my skin. It's usually around this area here. I can't even remember the last time that I had completely clear skin, so this is quite normal for me. I do have a few more blemishes on my cheeks than normal, but other than that, this area is pretty much the same as it always is. And just for reference, I do have combination oily skin. At the moment, it doesn't feel too bad. It doesn't feel dry. It doesn't really feel oily either. It's kind of in that normal zone, but throughout the day, it will get oilier. So that's why I've got 3 different cleansers. So I'm going to zoom you back out and give you a little bit of information about the products I'm going to be testing. In this video, I'm going to be testing out 3 different cleansers. I've got the foaming cleanser, the SA smoothing cleanser, and also the ever popular hydrating cleanser, which you've probably seen online. I know these products have gone viral, especially on TikTok, so I'm going to put them to the test and see what I think of them. And then I've also got the Facial Moisturising Lotion. This is the PM one without SPF. There is an AM one with SPF that you can try, but I bought the one without. And I also got an eye repair cream as well. So you may be wondering why I've got 3 cleansers, and you absolutely do not need to use all 3. In fact, you could probably just use 1 and have that as just your main cleanser. The reason I've got 3 is because I've actually had this one and this one for a little while now, and it isn't my first time trying these 2 out. However, I don't often give products enough time to really work on my skin, so I've used them and then I've used other products alongside it, like different cleansers on different days, and I haven't really given these a chance to see how they work for me and my skin. So I've decided I'm going to use nothing but CeraVe for the whole of this month, just to see how my skin does react. And then I also got the SA smoothing cleanser, as I've seen a lot of hype about this online, so I'm hoping that this one is going to be good for me and my breakouts in particular. So that is why I have 3 different cleansers, and I've got an idea of how I'm going to use them each day, but it may change depending on how my skin is. So my plan currently is to use the foaming cleanser, which is for normal to oily skin, in the morning, just to help cleanse my skin in the morning before I apply makeup. So it should help to reduce the oil on my skin without stripping it of its natural oil. So this is the one I'm planning on using in the morning, and then in the evening I plan on using the hydrating cleanser as the first part of a double cleanse, just to remove any makeup or dirt from my face. Even if I'm not wearing makeup, I will go in with this one first, and then the plan is to use the SA smoothing cleanser afterwards as part of a gentle exfoliation to hopefully help clear my skin overnight. So that is my current plan on how I'm going to use each of these cleansers. It's also worth noting that all of these products are fragrance free, so if your skin is quite sensitive to fragrance products, then the CeraVe range could be something that would really work for you. So I'm going to start with the hydrating cleanser, and this one is for normal to dry skin. On the front of the bottle it says it cleanses and hydrates without disrupting the protective skin barrier of the face and body, and it has 3 essential ceramides and hyaluronic acid. Then next up we have the foaming cleanser, and this one is for normal to oily skin, and on the front of the bottle it says it cleanses and removes oil without disrupting the protective skin barrier of the face and body, with 3 essential ceramides, niacinamide and hyaluronic acid. And then lastly we have the SA smoothing cleanser, the salicylic acid cleanser. This is for dry, rough and bumpy skin, and on the front it says it gently cleanses while exfoliating without disrupting the protective skin barrier, with 3 essential ceramides, salicylic acid and hyaluronic acid. Also on the back of the bottle it says it's gentle on skin, it is suitable for sensitive skin, and it has salicylic acid to help exfoliate and smooth. It's developed with dermatologists. The smoothing formula with 3 essential ceramides, salicylic acid and hyaluronic acid gently cleanses while exfoliating dry, rough skin without disrupting the protective skin barrier. And I plan on using this one to help with breakouts, so I'm going to use each of them every day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Also, in terms of prices, the hydrating cleanser and foaming cleanser both retail at £9.50, and this is the 236ml bottle. The SA smoothing cleanser retails at £12, as does the eye cream, and the facial moisturising lotion retails at £13. So for the purpose of this video, what I'm going to do next is apply all 3 of these cleansers to different parts of my skin, just so I can give you a comparison between all 3. I can also give you my first impressions and thoughts and let you know how it feels on the skin, what my skin is like once I've rinsed them off, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to start with the hydrating cleanser, and I'm just going to apply this to my forehead. I do also have a bowl of water and a muslin cloth here just to help with the process, but firstly I'm going to just wet my skin. So this is what the consistency is like in the hydrating cleanser. It's quite thin, it's almost kind of like a milky texture. I think I may have applied a bit too much of that. I'm forgetting I'm only doing one part of my face, but it goes on really nicely onto the skin. So I think I'm just going to do my forehead up to about here. But so far that feels really nice on my skin. It's not stinging or feeling irritated at all. So next I'm going to move on to the foaming cleanser, and I'm just going to apply it to this half of my face. I did also rinse the product off of my hand as best I could as well first. But this one is actually quite runny, and the consistency is very different to the hydrating cleanser. This feels like a much more thick gel. It feels quite thick on the skin and it's kind of hard to get off of my hand. I'll just go up to about here on my face. I don't know how well you can see the difference, but this side is a lot shinier than my forehead. I feel like this one is kind of just stuck on the surface of my skin. Other than the consistency, it feels very similar to the hydrating cleanser. It isn't irritating my skin at all. It feels just kind of cooling. So I'm going to go on to the last part of my face now. I picked this side for the salicylic acid cleanser purely because I have the most blemishes this side. So I just wanted to see what it would be like over the top. But already, just looking at the bottle, it does look a lot more watery than the other two. But let's see what this consistency is like. Very runny. In fact, more runny than the foaming cleanser, but not as much as the hydrating one. The hydrating cleanser is more of a milky consistency, and the foaming one is more of a thick gel, whereas this is kind of in the middle of the two. It's quite thin, but it is also foaming up, but it does still feel quite gel-like. And this is my first time using this particular cleanser. I've just zoomed you in so you can see up close the difference in all 3. So starting with the hydrating cleanser that I use on my forehead, obviously it's been on the longest out of all 3, but I feel like it's kind of sunk into the skin already. I can definitely feel that there is something on my skin, but it also kind of feels like it's absorbed. But it feels really nice on the skin. It doesn't feel irritated at all, so I'm really liking that one so far. And then next up we have this side here, which was the foaming cleanser. And just like with the hydrating cleanser, it feels very nice on the skin. It doesn't irritate it at all, but it is kind of just sat on the top of my skin, and I feel like it's going to take more effort to get this one off than the hydrating one. And then finally we have the SA smoothing cleanser on this part of my face, and even though it was the last one that I applied, I do feel like it is kind of making my skin tingle a little bit, which isn't the same here or here either. Here and here is completely fine. This part is just a little bit tingly. I can also see a little bit of redness starting to appear this side, just like here by my eye, also around here on the side of my nose and around my mouth. Even though it was the last one I applied, it's going to be the first one that I take off, purely because it is starting to make my face feel a little bit tingly and red. I don't know if that's meant to happen, so I'm going to start by taking this one off first. And I have a clean muslin cloth here just to help me remove the product. So like I said, I'm going to start with removing this side. My skin has gone very red underneath, so I'm hoping that it's going to calm down on its own, and I'm putting it down to the ingredients and the fact that I've just never used it before. It doesn't hurt so much, it just looks red and feels a bit tingly. Now I'm going to remove the hydrating cleanser from my forehead. So far it hasn't left any redness or anything, and it feels really nice and soft. I think I've removed all of it. So now I'm going to go on to removing this last part here. And this is the foaming cleanser that I'm removing. I'm actually just going to pop a little bit of water on my face just to see if it does foam up. It feels quite thick and gloopy on my face. It's not my favourite consistency out of all 3. I'd say so far the hydrating cleanser feels the nicest on my skin. But now that I've added a bit of water, you can see that this side has foamed up a bit. Right, so I've just washed off all 3 of the cleansers, and as you can see, this half of my face has gone so red, and it also kind of feels a bit warm to touch, and I've never had this reaction to products before, especially as I've tried products with salicylic acid and hyaluronic acid, and I've still never had this reaction. It doesn't feel sore or anything, it just kind of feels a bit warm, and obviously you can see that it looks red, especially on my nose area here. And it's also worth noting that I didn't have this reaction to the other 2 products, and as you saw on camera, this redness appeared quite quickly, which is something I wasn't expecting. So I'm glad I applied this one last and took it off first, but it does make my skin feel quite warm and also just a little bit tight, so I don't know if maybe I used too much, but I will keep an eye on that and just see how it develops throughout the month. But that is something to be aware of, and I don't have sensitive skin, at least I didn't think I did. And I've used salicylic acid in particular from The Ordinary, where it is literally just the product on its own, and I've used that before and it's never caused a reaction, so I'm a little bit unsure as to why it has done this time. In terms of my forehead and this part of my face, it doesn't really feel that much different afterwards. I guess the hydrating cleanser which I applied here feels kind of maybe a little bit more smooth. It feels slightly drier on this side, but not like dry skin at all. It feels basically the way that it did beforehand. But what I'm going to do now is go in with the moisturizer and eye cream. So for the moisturizer, I bought the Facial Moisturising Lotion in the PM version, so the one without SPF. There is an AM version with SPF, but I wanted to use this twice a day, both morning and evening. But if I am going out, then I will just apply SPF as I usually would. So this is the Facial Moisturising Lotion for normal to dry skin. On the box it says it moisturizes and helps restore the protective skin barrier with 3 essential ceramides, niacinamide and hyaluronic acid, and it's also fragrance free. So this is the packaging that it comes in. I'm going to squeeze a bit out onto the back of my hand so you can see what it's like. I'm just going to pop a bit all over my skin. I'm hoping that it doesn't cause even more of a reaction to this part of my face. I went in with about 2 to 3 pumps there, which may have been a little bit too much, but I do feel like it's absorbed into the skin really nicely so far. It hasn't caused more of a reaction to this side, but I will continue to monitor that and just see how it goes. And this is the only moisturizer that I'm going to be using for the whole of the next month, so fingers crossed it works well for me. My initial thoughts on it so far, I'm pretty impressed. It feels really nice and almost cooling on the skin. It doesn't leave my skin feeling sticky, but it does feel slightly tacky, and I feel like my makeup would apply nicely over the top. But so far I'm really impressed with that moisturizer, and it does feel really nice and soft on my skin. So lastly, I'm going to go in with the eye repair cream. I got this as part of a 3 for 2. I bought the SA Smoothing Cleanser and the facial moisturizer at the same time, and Boots had a 3 for 2 offer, so I got an eye cream with it too. And on the box it says it reduces the look of dark circles and puffiness, and it helps to restore the protective skin barrier with 3 essential ceramides and hyaluronic acid, and it is fragrance free as well. So firstly, I'm going to put a bit onto the back of my hand so you can see what it's like. Wow, that literally sinks in straight away. I'm going to pop a bit onto my ring finger and just apply about this much under my eyes. Apparently your ring finger is the best finger to use when you apply eye cream, because I read somewhere that it's meant to be the most gentle or something. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to go with it. So this is the initial difference between each side. In terms of any visible difference, I'm not noticing too much, but that's to be expected. I'm going to see how it continues throughout the month. I'm just reading a bit of information from the Boots website about the eye cream, as the box doesn't really give away a lot of information, but it says on here it's developed with dermatologists. The CeraVe Eye Repair Cream reduces the appearance of dark circles and puffiness. Protect and brighten. It reduces the look of dark circles and puffiness for brighter, healthier looking eyes. Contains 3 essential ceramides to protect the skin's natural barrier, and moisture retaining ingredients. It's formulated with hyaluronic acid to help retain skin's natural moisture. And it's also gentle on skin. Now, when I was looking up information about each of these products, I think there is a bit of a difference between the products that we get here in the UK compared to those in the US. The information on the CeraVe website I think is based on the US versions, because it's ever so slightly different, and I'm sure I read somewhere that the ingredients within the UK version is slightly different to those in America. I'm not 100% sure, but on the CeraVe website, on the page about the Renewing SA Cleanser, on the back of the bottle here, we've only got that it's gentle on skin and it contains salicylic acid, but on the back of the bottle on the website, it says it contains vitamin D and it's free of mechanical exfoliants, but there's nothing on here to suggest that it contains vitamin D, which is quite different to the one that's on their website. The same kind of goes for the hydrating cleanser as well. The back of the bottle, as you can see, is quite different. It doesn't have any information about the hyaluronic acid or anything. It literally just goes down to here where the first part is in English, and it just gives you directions for use. But there isn't any standout information about the ingredients. And I'm also having a look at the foaming cleanser, and it's the same again. The back of the bottle is different, and it does have a little bit more information on the one on the website. But I will continue to use these and see how I get on. But my review is based on the UK version. I don't know if there is a difference, but I'm just going on the products that I've bought from the UK. So that is now everything applied to my skin. As you can see, the redness has started to go down on this side, thankfully, and the tingling sensation has gone as well, which is great. But my opinion so far is that my skin does look and feel very clean, very smooth, very soft. I wasn't overly sure about the SA cleanser at first, just because of the initial reaction, but now that has started to go down, it does feel the same as this side, and I am really impressed with all of these products so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to use these throughout the rest of the month. I'm only going to be using these particular CeraVe products on my skin. I'm going to be using nothing else, just so I can give it a fair test and so that I know the results are from these products and these products alone. Unless there's any major changes in between, the next time you hear from me will be at the end of the month. Hey guys, today is Wednesday 30th of June and it's the last day of testing nothing but CeraVe skincare products for a whole month. As you may be able to tell, my skin has improved quite a lot since the first part of this video, and I have to say I'm really impressed with this skincare range. I'm going to give you my thoughts on each product separately, starting with the foaming cleanser. As I mentioned at the start of the video, my plan was to use this one in the morning, followed by the hydrating cleanser and SA cleanser in the evening, which I actually managed to stick to throughout the month. This foaming cleanser worked really well for me each morning, as it left my skin feeling clean without drying it out. It also helped to prepare my skin before my makeup application, and I have to say it didn't make any difference at all in how well my makeup lasted throughout the day, which is good because it lasted just as long as it normally does, so it didn't affect that at all. I also had no reactions to this cleanser, but the one thing I would say is that this one was the most difficult to remove out of all three, just because this one was the thickest in consistency, but overall it was really lovely. I would rate this an 8 out of 10 and I would repurchase it. Next up is the Hydrating Cleanser. I use this every evening as the first part of a double cleanse, and it's easy to work into the skin because the consistency is quite thin and easy to remove makeup with. Even on the days when I didn't wear makeup, I still use this each evening before applying the SA cleanser, and the two worked really well together. If your skin is on the drier side, then this would be really good to use in the mornings as well. You can immediately feel the hydration in your skin and it leaves everything feeling really soft and smooth. I would rate this a 9 out of 10 and I would definitely repurchase it. The final cleanser I tried was the salicylic acid cleanser, and I think this made the biggest difference to my skin. As you would have seen earlier in the video, when I applied this onto my skin for the first time, it did produce an immediate reaction and my skin went quite red. It did only happen that one time, and every time I've used it ever since, it hasn't happened. I don't know if it was just an initial reaction to a new product with fairly strong ingredients, but it only happened that first time and it hasn't happened again since, which is good. I found that this can make your skin tingle a little bit, and it also did make a couple of my spots sting, but nothing painful or sore. If anything, it made me feel like it was actually working, and if you look at the beginning of the video to now, you can see a huge difference in my skin, especially on the right side of my cheek here where I had quite a lot of blemishes to begin with. I really loved using this cleanser and it worked really well in my evening routine after using the hydrating cleanser first. I didn't find that the ingredients clashed at all, and I'm going to keep going with this routine because I genuinely loved it. I'd also rate this a 9 out of 10, and again I would definitely repurchase it and also recommend trying out any of these cleansers for yourself. I also used the PM Facial Moisturising Lotion twice a day and I really liked it. It has quite a light thin consistency that absorbs nicely into the skin. Like I mentioned previously, I have combination oily skin and this worked really well for me. It didn't feel greasy on my face and it worked well under makeup too. As this moisturiser doesn't have an SPF in, I did use a separate SPF over the top of it on days when I left the house. And for reference, I used the Nivea Sun UV Face Shine Control, and this is SPF 50. And this is something I've used for around 3 years and I absolutely love it. And I didn't find that it interacted with the moisturiser either, which is really good. Alternatively, you could try the CeraVe moisturiser with SPF, but I wanted to be able to use this both morning and evening, so this is what worked best for me and my routine. As I mentioned, I use this twice a day and I still have lots left. Even though it's £13 for 52ml of product, it does last a long time, so I would say it is worth the money. And I'd rate this a 7 out of 10 and I would repurchase it. The final product I tried was the eye repair cream, which if I'm honest, I didn't really notice much of a difference after using it. I applied it twice a day, both morning and evening, and it didn't really do a lot for me. It's very light and non-greasy, just like the moisturiser, and it's easy to apply, but I just didn't notice much of a difference. This cost £12 for 14ml of product, and as you can imagine, it lasts a really long time because you only need a very small amount with each use. I still have lots left, even after using it twice a day for a whole month, which does kind of help to justify the price tag. I don't know if it's because I was specifically looking for any differences, but I did seem to notice that my under eye concealer started to crease a bit by the end of the day, which doesn't usually happen, so I can only really put it down to this, which is a shame. I personally wasn't overly keen on this eye cream, so I would rate this a 5 out of 10 and I wouldn't repurchase it. It wasn't awful, it just didn't really do anything that a facial moisturiser wouldn't do, so I would say save your money. You don't really need to buy this as well as a moisturiser, but then again it may work better for you, but for me personally I didn't really notice much of a difference. Overall, I really enjoyed using these CeraVe products and I'd really recommend trying them out for yourself. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, you definitely don't need to purchase all 3 cleansers. I just happened to have all 3, so I thought I would test them all, but maybe have a look at what your skin type is and match the best cleanser to your skin. And just a reminder that the foaming cleanser is targeted for normal to oily skin, the hydrating cleanser is for normal to dry skin, and the SA smoothing cleanser is for dry, rough and bumpy skin. My skin has been pretty clear, at least for me anyway, over this last month, and I can only put it down to this routine. Other than a few little spots here and there, my skin has not consistently looked this good probably for a few years, so I will 100% continue to use these products every day. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, leave a comment and let me know if you've ever tried any of the CeraVe range, or if it's something that you'd like to try, as I'd love to know how you get on with it as well. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.